Hello, everybody. All right, give me a second. I gotta invite my friend if I can. How do I do that? So I said that I was gonna get on and I was gonna talk about. Here we go. And I was gonna basically talk about a segment that I did. I just touched on it though. It wasn't even like the whole segment. The whole segment was actually how to get over heartbreak. That's what it's called. And I did it I think May 21st, 2020. And I touched on sometimes you can date your assignments, and that's not a good thing to do. Well, until she gets here, my good friend Shira, I guess I'll talk. So, dating assignments and why it was labeled how to get over heartbreak. A lot of the times we walk into the heartbreak because we don't take the time to really evaluate what's going on. We don't take the time to get to know people the way that we should. Bring them on camera. Add. Coming. Hey, are you here? There you go. I'm excited. I'm excited. Look, I got my bump down.
Oh yeah, you did, girl. That's all you need. It's a little bit of just put some
I no,
heat to a chair, or you
I
can use a scarf and put and do that, girl. It was
Look, I
girl.
got some more work to
Telling you.
do, but it looked a little better. But I had started off just basically let them know that the original segment was called "How to Get Over Heartbreak," and I did it May 21st, 2020. And so I
Hmm.
started by saying, like, a lot of the times we walk into the heartache or heartbreak because of not really taking the time to evaluate if this person is really supposed to be here as like someone that we like passing by. Because I'm not one to believe that anybody that you meet is without reason, but I am a
Hmm.
firm believer of like people pass by or people will cross your path to test you. One, to see if you've actually learned the lesson that you've actually supposed to learn, or
Hmm.
if they're going to distract you and hold you up and hinder you from moving forward to what it is that you're supposed to do. Um, or like as far as like this, it can mean a large plethora of things, but I know in my experience where it was I felt like I dated an assignment, a lot of the times I understood why it didn't work later on after it was over, because I found out that they had gone through the struggles I had gone through, like as far as them not really believing in God or questioning God or wondering if God, Jesus, was an idol put before God, such as myself. And when I found out, I was like, well, I went through
Hmm.
that too. So we really weren't even supposed to date. Maybe I was here to let you know that you weren't alone, you know? And that explains why.
Well, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Now, when you were in your past relationship, did you find God then, and then he didn't find God?
I found it out.
Like, was it with
Go ahead.
like okay? So when y'all were in your relationship,
Mm-hmm.
was it both of y'all that felt, or did you ever discuss that with him? I mean, I know you said that you didn't discuss it or didn't get a chance to discuss your faith.
Well, it
I
wasn't.
mean, was
It
it like,
wasn't
okay, what I'm
that.
trying to
I
say
did
is,
get to, because I love talking about God. So I was always like gun ho. Like after I figured out, like okay, I had everything solidified and I was okay, and I, had built my relationship with him. I was excited to talk about him. So I was talking about him, but he would never
hmm,
engage. He was always standoffish. He was always just
okay,
listening,
got you.
and he didn't have anything to say. And I really didn't see that for what it was, because I'm like, if you love God, you love talking about him. That's how I feel.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Or if you
I
love
mean,
God,
I
you don't.
love to talk about God. Yeah, I haven't met too many, and I think for me, I haven't met too many men that I can really sit down and have an intellectual conversation about God, where I can just talk about God. And that's a problem to me because, and even if you do talk about God, that doesn't still mean you're meant to be with the person. That's just one of the things that I feel like, even in a marriage, that I feel like I require. Like, you have to be a man of God and also stand behind that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
moving forward. Like, I don't want to be with somebody that, if you don't, like we said before, How can I follow you when you don't even know where you're going?
Exactly.
When you don't have God in your life to direct you where you need to go? How can I trust you with all of me? You get what I'm saying?
Really,
With
no, that's
everything in
real.
me.
Because if you don't answer to God,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have somebody that you answer to. There's no accountability. So there's like you can mistreat people and you won't feel any type of way about it. You won't know
Yeah.
what order is for the family. You won't understand what it is that's supposed
Mm-hmm.
to be done for the family, how you are supposed to be the spiritual leader of the family, how to keep the family. I had a phone call. How to protect the family. So
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to like a lot of, and I feel like now a lot of guys more than ever shy away from conversations in regards
Mm-hmm.
to God. And to me, that's like a you don't even want to talk about it. We ain't got nothing to talk about. You know what I mean? Like now for me,
Yeah.
that's how I see it. Like, okay, it's not even like I'm supposed to be talking to you in that way. So why'd you cross my path? Or are you here to test my resolve to see if I learned my lesson? Are you here
Mm-hmm.
so I can kind of give you an introduction to him and kind of push you through
Mm-hmm.
the door? Because to me, like if we can God is to us in what capacity, because we're gonna just be real people. You know what I'm saying? Different people have different gods, and my God is the God of all gods. You know what I mean? And so it's like I feel like you have to talk about that because everybody's God is different, and if they're not worshiping the same God that you are, then how are they supposed to lead your family correctly? You know what I mean? Oh, Shara disappeared, y'all. We gonna bring her back. Hold on. So,
Okay, I'm back.
okay.
I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. It's like I couldn't hear. It was like you were getting. I had people call and lower when you were speaking. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're okay. But like, how do
Okay.
you feel about that? Like, have you felt like you've ever dated an assignment before?
Yeah.
What was it about
Yes,
this
I have. I think
assignment?
it was a lot. It was definitely an assignment. I don't. It's hard to kind of put it together because it was like I knew that it was certain things that I had to show, even though they didn't give me what, like, or for instance, you know how in the Bible it says turn the other cheek.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just like, even though someone may have done something to me to where I should have been on get back, or I should have, treated them this way, I still showed them otherwise. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And I think that makes a person who doesn't know God, or who, is learning how to treat other people, it makes them mad because it's like they keep trying to do all these things to see if you're going to change who you are, and you don't.
exactly.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think what hindered it was being in the relationship for way too long, when I knew that this was not, the person wasn't on the level. And not to put, I mean, because no one's higher than anyone, but as far as where I was going within Christ, I can't have someone like, I can't have a man, I'm gonna just put like that. I can't have a man that I can help you get there, but if you're not even trying to get there,
Mm-hmm.
I can't, because what's going to happen is you're going to bring me down when I'm trying to build myself up, because I'm trying to play catch up or wait for you to get where I am, and you're pulling from me and taking from me and taking from me until I don't have any energy for myself, or to move on to the next assignment, whether it be another relationship or a person. You get what
I'm gonna tell you this. I felt so like Samson, and the reason why I say I felt like Samson is because Samson was
I'm
really about how somebody looked and stuff like that, and like he just was chasing
hmm
girls. Period. I don't think it was even about how they looked. He was just chasing girls. He was like women. So
He loved women.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
with me, I wasn't chasing like a whole bunch of guys, but that one guy, I felt like I gave him way too much of my energy and I chased him. And I kind of was like, oh, he's so handsome. He's so, this, he's so that. Like, disregarding,
Girl, I
like,
know all about that.
delving into his character, like, to really find out. It's like that. Another reason why I feel like Samson is because when Samson went back after he got into all of that stuff, the war and stuff, and they had married his first wife off to somebody else, instead of him, like, he basically got upset and let that control his emotions and set the foxes on fire and let it set the field on fire, which in turn set off a whole
Mm-hmm.
chain of events that didn't even need to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was thinking to myself, like, when I was reading the story one night, and I was like, what if he just would have taken it as, if this woman is married to someone else and she was married off to someone else, maybe this woman isn't for me. Maybe I idolized her too
Mm-hmm.
much. Maybe God
Mm-hmm.
purposely married her off to somebody else so I could humble myself. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think
Mm-hmm.
he saw like that. He just let his anger or his own emotions take hold of him. And I can resonate with that because instead of me seeing all the red flags that was popping off here and there and seeing like, okay, this is a red flag or this is a red flag or God is showing me this about this person, I was still trying to hold on. But by then it was because I felt like I loved him. I cared about him. But I had to stop
Mm-hmm.
think like, what is it that I really cared about if we didn't have a foundation in God anyway? So was it vanity?
Mm-hmm.
And I had to really check.
Yeah, and sometimes it's vanity. Yeah, sometimes it's vanity. Sometimes it's like, oh, it is. Sometimes it's time and energy. You get what I'm saying?
Time and energy.
Being with someone, yeah, that would just make you be like, I just can't give up right now. I just gotta keep trying. But I know for me, what I felt like in my situation, I kept on trying and trying and trying and trying. And I just looked up and years have passed me by. And it was
Yeah,
just like, well, you tried and you tried and you tried. But has he tried?
yes,
Has he tried? No, he's comfortable with you trying and you doing all the work.
yes, yes,
And he has nothing to offer you. So I had to tell myself, am I going to stick around? Because it's just like that meme that says, when you're trying, you waiting on a man, and it's just like you're a skeleton. You waiting on a man to get it together.
yeah,
It was just like you're missing out on so much stuff, and it's like you're putting your energy into all the wrong things instead of focusing on your business, focusing on your children, focusing on the next, move or whatever you want to do with yourself.
right.
You're so engrossed into a person that wasn't supposed to be here for that long. You get what I'm saying? Like you were supposed to learn what you were supposed to learn, or you was in. That's another thing. Even what you were saying, when you get something from that too, you learn something from being in the wrong relationship or being in a relationship, whether it's good or bad. You learn certain things, and it was just like, well, how much do you want to learn? You want to learn some more hurt? How much hurt do you want to do you want to
Exactly.
receive?
Exactly.
Okay, so and it's like a mental thing because you have to be like, well, I'm so used to it, but I know it maybe if it's like, no, you have to say, you know what, this is not me. I don't do this. I don't allow this. I wouldn't do this in any other relationship, and I put in too much work, and it's not working. So it's time for me to jump out this and try something else because it has to be a mutual thing,
And it can,
in a
and
relationship.
I feel like it can turn into a bit of, especially if God isn't present in the relationship, I do feel like it can turn
Mhm.
into idol worship. Like with another
Mhm.
reference I have is Jezebel and Ahab, because they were both
Mhm.
priests for Baal and they worshipped a whole nother god. And I felt like they had a
Mhm.
very visceral relationship because she didn't respect him as the head at all or anything like that. Like there was
Mhm.
that relationship. There was only dysfunction. And so when you think of
Mhm.
that, then I started translating it to like, okay, is this a Jezebel spirit? But I'm not going to get into all of that. But, but,
I will say that for another one.
yeah. But I had to really like check myself. I'm not like I had to really like check myself on that, and that was like, and I started thinking about like relationships in the word and how they're actually supposed to function and how the godly relationships
Mm-hmm.
work and things of that nature. Like when Abraham was looking for a wife for his son Isaac, and they found Rebecca,
Mm-hmm.
and how he asked the servant to go and find him a wife, and if she said no, then okay, then you're absolved of the responsibility. You can go on your way. But if she wants to go, bring him here. I don't want anybody. Like I was just thinking like a Ruth or Boaz, and just going down the list. And then I found the visceral
Wow.
relationships in the Bible, and I kind of compared it to what I was dealing with, and I said, "Wow, okay, this is dysfunction."
Oh, it is. I was reading something today. It was early this morning when I woke up, and it was talking about, it was. I think it was. It was. I think I was telling you it was Hebrews, and it was talking about
Yeah,
a husband and wife, and basically how the wife, was saying how the wife should obey the husband, follow after the husband, listen to the husband. And I think now it's like, you want to be submissive, you want to listen, but and you want to get to that point to where you find a man that's worth doing that. You get what I'm saying? But you can't do that with
yes,
everybody. And that's another thing, like a lot of women have to check themselves too, because I know me, I have a smart mouth. I will be the first to say, when it comes to a man, I have a smart mouth or whatever. But I don't have a smart mouth to the point to where I can't listen. You get what I'm saying? Like I can't, if it's worth, or I feel like this man is a man and he's, showing his dominance in a respectful manner. It's not to the point to where I can't fall back and be like, okay, and be submissive and be the woman that listens. Because I want in a partner, you
yes,
want to be able to listen. You get what I'm saying? You want to be able
yes.
to be knowledgeable and gain, because there's certain things that a man or partner might know that you might not know, or certain things that you might know that that man does not know. You get what I'm saying? So I think,
Very true.
even getting somewhere or being in a relationship, you have to be able to listen and also not be on the fence all the time. You get what I'm saying? Your dog's like, time's up. Um,
I don't
but
know.
yeah,
That's just
but yeah, but sometimes it's just go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, like, I think the biggest thing that I I learned how to wait. Like, I learned to reevaluate myself. I learned to figure out if what I was actually taking inventory of in order to find a mate was like
Mhm.
a good thing, like, or if I was
Mhm.
asking enough questions. Because I've always been the one to know what it is that I was looking for in a mate. Above all things, I need them to love God. But if they won't even talk to you about God, that should be a red flag. So I had to realize,
Oh, it definitely is.
yeah, like I had to realize for myself, like you can't force anybody. That comes out of a person. A person exudes their love for God. They're not afraid to show their love for God. And if you feel like you got to
Mhm.
pull it out of them, there it lies in the problem. And it should be
Mhm.
something that's ignored. That's number one in a relationship, and should be the first thing that anybody talks about, especially if you say that you love God and you want a godly relationship. You have to
Mhm.
see where your mindset sit within God and sit with him. So
Mhm.
it's like I just chose to, like, okay, it's time for me to be alone.
Mhm.
And I'm
And
sitting
then
here like,
sometimes you have to be alone. I mean, I'm learning that now, um, through what I'm going
you're freezing. Sure. Hold on, your thing going on. Oh, okay.
wrong, or you just it just ain't right. And I was just like, I don't need to focus on any type of male right now. I need to focus on what I'm supposed to be doing for God and what I'm supposed to be doing for me, and allowing him to use me, actually use me
Right, that's real.
cold, like this openly, like, this every piece of me. You know, and that's another thing that, you know, people don't, you know, when you ask God to use you, you know, it's just like with everything in you, everything,
He's gonna bring
you know,
people across
you ask to be used.
in order for you to be used, and you're just gonna have to
Hmm.
figure out, okay, what is this person crossing my path for? Because he's gonna bring all types of people across your path, and just like he brings people, so does the devil. He brings people to
Yeah.
from what it is you're trying to do, but it's not always him that's testing you. I will
Hmm.
say that sometimes God, he'll test you to see if you'll pass the test, just like with Abraham. We were talking about that earlier, how he was asking him to give up his,
Hmm.
be like, you waited this long for your child, you love him more than me, would you give him up for me, you know? So like, I feel like it's all a big thing where you have to have really good discernment to go along with it. But being
Hmm.
with the wrong person as well, as far as like being with someone who's on assignment, can really hinder, because you'll be stuck on that one thing forever and you haven't moved on.
And you can't get to the next because just, yeah, you can't get to the next. We were just talking about that. So yeah, we can't get to the next if we're stuck where we don't need to be, because it's just like I said, you're putting all your energy into this to
Mm-hmm.
where you can't even gain what's right down, you know, the street, or what's right on the other side, or
Exactly.
what's the next
Or
assignment,
to
you
help
know.
you
And
go and move forward. You get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, you can't. Yeah, because it's just like, because another thing people think is so easy. Like when you get out of a relationship, people think it's like, oh, easy breezy. Like, no, it's that's not. I mean, I know women. Now I know women that have relationships and they date, or they're always in a relationship. Every time I look up, oh, you was in a relationship with this guy. Oh, now you're in a relationship with this guy. Well, now you're in a relationship with this guy. And it's just like I can't even keep up. You get what I'm
yeah.
saying? And it's just like you're always talking about man, men, 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 men. And I'm like, now we all know we like us some men's. I want a man, I want a husband. However, until I get that, you get what I'm saying? There's
Yeah.
certain things I need to do. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I can't have the wrong person. Or I don't want to be with somebody just to say I'm with them, and this person is not fulfilling me. It's not making me happy. Um, and when you think
Well,
about that, it's
you're
just
not
like they
always
have to make you happy in all aspects.
now. Be reasonable.
You
Yeah.
said what?
I said y'all not always gonna get along. Be reasonable now, but just know how to
Oh, no,
part
no, no,
ways.
no, no. I know
That's
that
okay.
now. I know ain't nothing perfect, chill. Okay. But I have to want to love you. Like I have to want to just, you know, see you and be around you and love being around you. Even though it might be times where I don't want to be around you. But majority of the time I want to be like, oh, I can't wait when is he coming home? That type of tip. You get what I'm saying? Or I can't wait for us to go on this date. I know you excited, I'm excited. Like that type of thing, you know. And that is what I'm waiting for, honey, because they was like, oh, you know, like, I can't wait till we watch this movie. We're gonna watch this, you know, like stuff like that,
Yeah.
you know. But I feel like until then, I'm focused on what I need to focus on. I'm focusing on self, and that's what a lot of people and a lot of women and men don't know how to do. You don't know how to sit it down.
I feel like
Sometimes we gotta sit it down.
the like social media and TV and all of that glorifies like you have to be with somebody, you have to be dating somebody. It's cool for you to do this, it's cool for you to do that. I don't feel like it's cool for you to just sit down and figure out your path in life anymore. And then with so many
Mm-hmm.
distractions out here and with so many people, like marriages are going down and all of that because people really don't understand and respect the institution of marriage and what it really is any longer, which is
Mm-hmm.
another reason I'm just like, no, I don't want to date anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I just gonna have to send him, and that's how. But it's like,
Yeah. No, let me tell you something.
no,
Oh, go ahead. I
you,
wanted to touch on something before
no,
I forget.
you can go ahead. Go
Oh,
ahead.
okay, so I wanted to touch on like another thing. What gets me with people, and I just at first, and this was like a long time ago. I've been hearing this all my life. Well, no, ever since I've been, you know, in relationships or whatever. And when you take advice, you always hear people say you don't take advice from someone who's not with anyone or someone that doesn't have anybody. And I found that to be false. Okay, I found that to be false
Okay.
because my thing is, I'm gonna tell you why. Now, some people can't keep a man. I'm gonna tell you like that. Some people, those are the people that are in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out of relationships. Like you have this one man, then you have another man. Well, what happened to Jesse? What happened to Mark? What happened to Paul? What happened to Peter? And these are back to back, to back, to
Right.
back, to back, to back. You get what I'm saying? But you know, it's difference between having a long relationship, or a long, you know how we had long relationships or whatever.
Right.
Right now, I can give advice. I'm not, I'm single, but I can give advice to someone because I've been in a long term relationship. I've learned a lot. And I also learned that right now it's time to focus on self. I've been in another relationship outside of that relationship. I found that I can tell you about that. I can tell you about certain things. I can tell you about how, before you get this, another thing, before you jump into another relationship, make sure you heal from the relationship that you was already in.
Yeah.
A lot of times people don't even heal from what you already came in, because what's going to happen is you're going to take all that stuff. Another thing is he did me dirty. He did me this. He did this. He did that. And then guess what? The other man going to do you.
And yeah, that's another thing I don't like too. Like when, okay, and this is something I had to learn. I think I told you this story. I had gone through a 7.5 year relationship and it ended. And then I was single for like about 6 months. And then I got into a 2 year relationship. But at the 2 year beginning of it, I ended up like expressing to him like everything I had gone through, because I felt like if I told him, everything that I went through, that maybe, just maybe, he wouldn't put me through any of that. We can move forward and build our own thing, and that he would be cognizant of like my triggers. But it wasn't his responsibility to be cognizant of my triggers. It was my responsibility to make sure that I got rid of those triggers before I even went forward, because if they were no longer triggers, I wouldn't even have brought it up to him in the first place. So I had to take my responsibility in that situation. And so with dealing with that, yeah, he went and did the same thing, all this other stuff. After we broke up, like, he actually had the nerve to say to me, well, you gave such and such 7 years. How you just gonna give me?
But you ain't such and such. I didn't want that. You get what I'm saying? Like, you don't get the, and that's another thing. Don't compare yourself to somebody else. Because if I told you what hurt me or whatever, and then you in return do the same thing that you already knew I've been through, what does that say about you? So you can't, just because you're different, you're the same person, just a different face. Like the same person. We read when we looked at that on YouTube, how it says, oh, you're the same person. We were talking about how sex is good or whatever, that on YouTube, and it said you're the same person, just a different last name.
Yes.
You still did the same thing. We have to deal with the issues at hand. We have to deal with the hurt and all that. You know what I'm saying? Before we enter in a relationship. If somebody asks me something moving forward, it just didn't work out. I had my concerns. He had his concerns. I wanted this. We just wanted two different things. We weren't on the same page. That's all you need to know. You don't need to know the ins and the outs of the relationship, because that's my past, and you don't have nothing to do with that. If I'm trying to establish something with you, I'm moving forward. And I had to learn that, because for a long time, I used to tell everybody everything. They knew I was like, I still am an open book, and I will give information because I feel as though, a lot of people need to hear it. If I can keep somebody from going down the path that I went down, or certain things that I allowed to happen, to me, or even being in an abusive relationship and staying way too long, I knew I was supposed to leave. I stayed for years, making excuses. Some of that stuff was on me. It wasn't just on him, because I allowed it. I knew it wasn't right. You know what I'm saying? So I just can't just say, woe is me, because I played a part in that too. Even though he should have kept his hands to himself, I still played, a role in that. So, you can't, and that's another thing, you can't always say, woe is me all the time in relationships, because at the end of the day, we're all grown, we're all adults, and we know right from wrong. We know what you shouldn't do, what you shouldn't. We cover up. We cover up. We make excuses for our partners or whatever. And sometimes, they get mad because they know, like, you couldn't do that with Alexandria. You couldn't do that with Tamika. You couldn't do that with Shantae. And he knows that. And he was like, oh, like your friends, they don't even have relationships. They don't no, they wouldn't deal with a nigga like you. Now, if they had to deal with a man like you, then yeah. Okay. So until they find a person that's worth being with, they're tired of being with people like you.
Exactly.
So that's why, our friends, yeah. No, go ahead.
Oh, I feel like there's more visceral people out here now, or more people who are opportunists, or out for what they can get, or out for what you can do for them. I don't feel like relationships anymore. I feel like relationships are more so, oh, I got a boo, we look cute together for some clout so they can make ends meet, so they can pay bills. Like, I don't feel like anybody's really seeing like relationships or just marriage or love for what God originally made it for, And like when I really I read it, I don't regret anything I went through. I will say that because it's made me a crap ton wiser. I will definitely say that. So I don't regret.
Oh yeah. I will say that much, because I will say, even for me talking to you sometimes, you always be like, well, no, sure, don't do that, or don't be like that, because it's you always you don't just tell me why, tell me the reason why not to. It's always because based upon what you've been through. You get what I'm saying? It's always that. So I always say, I can't speak on things that I haven't gone through. If I tell you not to do something, it's because that's just like when you have a child. When you tell that child not to do something, it's not because I don't want you to do it. It's because I've done it and I'm telling you why you shouldn't do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
yeah. And
it's just,
Go ahead.
You said what?
I couldn't hear you. Taught me that. Like, somebody taught me that. They were saying, instead of just telling somebody no and leaving it no, tell them no and then express why, and give them like the backstory to it so they can understand that you're not saying no because you just want to be some type of way, but you're saying, don't do that because I care. And when it happened to me, this is what ended up happening, and I don't want to see that happen to you, and so like just let them pull out like everything about it. Because like people, if you just say no, they're just going to be like, whatever, blah blah blah, I'm do what I want, but if you kind of give them the backstory to it, and tell them like, hey, you do that for me too, though,
they'll understand. Yeah. Okay, let me see how I can put this. That's why I said people, I hate it when men say, and I always hear this from men, I hate it when men say that, oh, you're listening to somebody that's not in a relationship, or you're going to be the only person. I had someone tell me this, oh, while all your friends are in a relationship, you're going to be single, you're going to be by yourself. I want to be single. I want to be by myself, or whatever, because you're basically trying to tell me that I have to deal with your shit. I don't want to deal with your stuff. I don't want to deal with your junk. I want to deal with something that's worth dealing with. You always gonna, when you get in a relationship, you're always gonna have to deal with something.
Right.
But something that's toxic. I don't want to deal with something that's pulling me down, and you're not going to make me feel less than because I don't want to deal with your mess. So if I do have to be single for a little bit, so what? Okay, that's just going to make me better. Like, that's just going to prepare me for my husband now. You get what I'm saying? So I really don't care if I'm single. It's not, it's more stuff. Then I don't have to worry about preparing a meal for 4. I can worry about preparing a meal for 3. I don't have to clean up behind 4. I can clean up behind 3. I don't have to, do all these things. You get what I'm saying? I can focus on self. I don't have to focus on other people or taking your feelings in consideration. All those things that you do when you're in a relationship, I can learn a little bit more, about that. And that's another thing, it's not always about us when you get in a relationship and how you feel. It goes both ways. That person, you have to compromise with that person, and they have to compromise with you. Exactly. You get what I'm saying? It can't just be like how I feel, oh, me, and all that selfish stuff. I've dealt with selfishness for a long time, and still have to deal with it, because I'm going to be dealing with it for 18 plus years. But I mean, hey, it is what it is.
What?
However,
I
you know,
think the
I
biggest
just
oh, go ahead.
I learned no, go ahead. No, go ahead. Go
What?
ahead.
I learned
I hate this
that I
delay.
had to
I'm at
start.
mommy's house. I'm at mommy's, so the internet is messed up. But go
You
ahead.
are fine. You are fine. I think what I learned, and that what is like the best thing that I probably like started implementing is like just consulting God about everything. So I go to Him about everything.
Hmm.
And then I want what He wants for me. I don't want what I want for me because I feel like a lot of time we look at things for aesthetics or what pleases us, and we don't know what it is that God already has planned for us. Because I do know that
Hmm.
made all of us. He's already set our path out for us, which means down to the smallest detail, He has already planned our lives, and
Hmm.
even down to
And
our
sometimes we don't know what we
yeah,
need. Not
yeah,
to cut you off. Sometimes we don't know what we need. Sometimes we know what we want, but sometimes we don't even know what we really need.
yeah.
And that's another thing when I think about moving forward. When I think about this period, you don't know what you need in a man. Sometimes a man or a woman don't even know what you need. You know, except for the person that God ordained you to be with, whoever He set forth for you to be with, they know what you need. You know, and you're gonna know what that person needs. You get what I'm saying?
I think he definitely
So yeah, girl.
I definitely feel like as a woman, we are already crafted for somebody who will understand us because we're made to be the helpmate.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like somebody needs the nurturing side that we have to. Somebody needs that honest. You know that ain't right. You know just as we have somebody who wants
Oh
to
my
teach
God.
us that we things need to be a certain way or whatever the case may be. So I definitely feel like consulting him and going and it's not what I want. Like, what do you want from me, Lord? Like, I'm open to it because I'm so caring and I'm so nurturing. Like, I just don't think that just anybody deserves it. And I feel like the person that deserves it is whomever He crafted me for in the first place. So, and I feel like, yeah, we make our mistakes and we go through things, but it makes us a lot stronger. And it
Oh my God.
also implements
Okay, I'm
lessons with
sorry.
you as
I just
we are.
Jesus Christ.
Huh? What?
Oh no. See, this is what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm getting upset. Jesus, no. Okay. Can you hear me good? It's doing a thing.
Okay. Yes, I can hear you. It's going.
I can hear you a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna have to get off here and then get.
I'm gonna invite her back, you guys. Let me see. Add.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. So I was getting a phone call. It happened again. I was getting a phone call. Then I got text. And then for some reason, that's when you started to go low. So I couldn't hear you. So
Oh
now I'm
well,
here
all I was
again.
really saying just
Sorry.
yeah, all I was really saying just to sum it all up was I don't regret anything I've gone through. I feel like we were crafted for
Mm-hmm.
someone and made for someone in particular, and then that person crafted for
Mm-hmm.
they understand how to deal with us because neither one of us are going to be perfect. Neither one of us are going to come with the best ideas. Not all, we're not going to be happy go lucky.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be grouchy sometimes, but we'll know how to deal with one another.
Yeah, and we may make some mistakes, you know.
I don't think we would make
I
mistakes
think about that all the
purpose
time.
to
Even
hurt each other, like to hurt each other on purpose.
no, not like that. Yeah. Also like mistakes. Like we might make mistakes. Not like mistakes like within each other. Like okay,
Yeah.
maybe we shouldn't have took that deal. Like so,
Yes.
God forbid, because I want to win and everything. I do, girl. But anyway, yeah, like
No,
I think certain
like
things made me
90.
stronger. I
You
can't
want a
hear
big one.
you. Oh, y'all can hear you now.
You want a big wedding. I want a small wedding. I said I'm probably gonna have like 19 people. If it was up to me, I would
Girl,
probably
the way things are set up, I might not even have that. I might have a little wedding with you, child. Because I'm telling you, like I'm weeding out a lot of people that don't wish me well and it's not for me. And I don't need all that. All I need is my partner, my children, and I'm good. And my good friends. Like that's all I really need. Unless it's I mean in his family, whoever he wants to bring along, because for some reason I feel like whatever husband I get, I feel like his family will be a lot, so that's who would be probably entertaining, and my side would just be like, my good girlfriends, my good Judys, my
yeah,
family, I know been rooting for me, and that's it. Like just keep it short and sweet. But even in the relationships that I've gone through, and everything, I say that I've gotten stronger because it broke me down, and I had to build myself up, and I had to depend on God to do so, and I had to do a lot of self meditating, a lot of self just isolation, and even sometimes you still even if you had got to go back and follow those same regiments. You know what I'm saying? Follow those same things to get yourself back where you need to be. And then you don't want to keep on making the same mistake, in
yes,
each relationship because,
yes, 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 yes.
sometimes
I
it's
agree with
not
that.
them. Sometimes it's your choices.
Yeah, and I had to learn that. I
Say it
made
made
really
me
bad
stronger.
choices. My
It,
choices
broke me
were no
down and
good.
built me back up.
My choices were no good. Like I fell for the they're nice to me, and everybody nice for like the first three,
Hmm.
6 months even, and then after that, like
Yes.
they have you hook, line, and
Then
sinker.
they show who they truly
All of
are.
this.
They
Yes,
show
toxic.
their hmm
You do gotta get.
hmm
I found like after I left my the last guy, it was a lot of
hmm
stuff I had to sit down and deal with by myself. Like it was a lot of stuff I had to purge by myself, and I was like, this isn't even my
Yeah.
shit. Like this isn't even me. Like I learned this from this person.
hmm
You get what I mean? And once you
hmm
learn
Oh
and
yeah.
figure out where you learned all this stuff from, you're like, oh heck no, and you get back to who you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so
Yeah. Even with the short temper and the yelling and the like, I know in my last relation, not my last, but but my long term relationship that I was in, I would get angry, I would get aggressive, with simple things when I used to be very calm. Now, I'm not saying I'm not a firecracker, but I used to be like, you had to do something to me. Like I would like now, like I remember it was a girl I was talking about. I was working at my job and she was mugging me and all types of stuff. And if it was the old me, I would have been like, "What's up? You got a problem?" When the new me would I just chuckled and smiled, and I said, the next time that I talked to her, I was gonna be real calm with her. But because that's all I saw, that aggressiveness,
yeah. Mm-hmm. That's real.
we were out, even though I was feeding off his energy too, and I had to unlearn that because first of all,
Oh, you going
if
out?
I don't have to,
You
you have to give me a good read
mm-hmm.
on someone. I've learned.
Yeah.
Can you hear me good? Are we okay? Yeah, I had
I
to
can still
learn
you going out
not
a
to.
little it comes
Okay, as long as you can hear me. If it's going in and out, let me scoot up a little bit because I'm on this bed. But I just had to learn like to not. But yeah, girl, I had to learn. Oh, she's watching. Hey, girl, that's why I couldn't call you because I was doing this. Um, but that's how I learned. But I had learned to not take those traits into me moving forward because that's not me. Even the way I treated my children, like, I don't have to do all that. It's like if they're like, why are you yelling or why are you being mean? Well, why am I being mean? But I was with a mean person for years. You get what I'm saying? So it's just certain stuff or just certain characteristics, like putting stuff off. I normally, if it's something I really need to do, I'm going to do it right then and there. I would procrastinate. I had to stop doing that. I still suffer with doing that a lot of times. I'll do it tomorrow when that, before that, I used to be like, no, I'm going to handle this on this day so I don't have to think about it tomorrow. So yeah. But go ahead, chill.
You silly. I think the biggest thing for me, like I said, like I learned all those things and I had to get rid of them. But then after you get rid of them, then you got to get back to yourself. And I think I just started enjoying my time. And then I realized after I was able to like purge all that crap, I'm not dealing with this no more. So now I may be a little hard on guys. I don't know. But like a guy will try to like approach me, and if I even feel like his aura is just off, I'm like, I'm taken. And it is not even that.
But I can tell that you're at a good place, though.
I am. I'm okay with being alone because I feel like anybody who enters my space now is going to have to know who they are and who's going to have to love God. And if I can't even have a conversation with you about God, it's just a no-go automatically. Like, that's one thing I
it's a no for me, dog. It's a no for me, dog. But I will say, you tickled me that time when you were hiking and I had video chat you in here. And I couldn't help but to laugh because it's like, oh, look at Realish girl. She got on her hat. She is not playing with these people out here. Like, you were on a mission. And I was like, oh, so that's what I'm talking about. You're able to do those things. And it'll be even better to, like, when you do get your Boaz, your husband, you can go on hiking trips and do certain things that you like to do. But right now, I'm enjoying doing these things on my own.
Yeah, like hopefully he'll come.
But it's just like certain, like you don't have to come, but it's still refreshing to see, just you enjoying yourself and see women enjoying themselves by themselves.
Yes. Because how are you supposed to learn how to deal with yourself? If you expect somebody else to deal with you, you got to be able to deal with yourself first. If you expect somebody else to be with you, then you're gonna have to be able to put up with your stuff. And if you can't even put up with the stuff you do, then how do you expect somebody else to? And that goes for friendships too, like or any business relationships or anything. It's not just with that, it's across the board. So you got to really learn who you are and love who you are and learn how to enjoy yourself outside of what other people are doing, or because you're not always going to want to be around your spouse. I know me, like I like take 2-hour drives sometimes. I'll get the dogs and we just go, and like you're so
girl, sometimes I need my me time.
Like you can go drive to a beach. Like my favorite thing is like driving to a beach. Like I'll go drive, sit on the sand, watch the waves go. You know what I mean? And so it's important to understand that sometimes your spouse is going to want that alone time, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they have anything against you. It doesn't mean that they don't want to be around you. It just means that they want time with them too. Especially if you've been with yourself for a long time. Like, I'm not saying it's been a while now. I've been single for a while by choice. I just don't. I'm not going to do that. But it's like, it taught me a lot about myself, and I feel like I saved myself a lot of trouble, because if I would have just tried to jump into something else, and you don't have to be interested in everybody who's interested in you either. And I think that's something we as women should be told, like, just because somebody pays you a little attention does not necessarily mean that you need to be interested in them. Just because they're cute and they're paying you attention doesn't mean that you necessarily should even pay them attention anyway. I learned that, girl. And then just but I think we all go through that every once in a while. Learn to love yourself. Learn to put yourself above all things, especially if this man is not your husband and God has not revealed that to you. That's important. And I think we as women need to get back in the habit of asking God instead of just looking at what looks good to us. God,
because we don't ask God. We don't. And that's another thing. When I look at it, and I can go off of what I see on, social media and with women and what they expect or their, you know,
Hmm?
what they want in a guy, what attracts them. Like everybody like, I want a man with a beard, or he gotta have hair. If you don't have a beard, or you don't have this, or you don't have that, don't even talk to me. But it's just like that's how you miss out on your blessings. And what if somebody said the same thing? Like if you don't have edges, if girls are out here don't have
What?
her
Why
edges,
would
then
you
don't
choose
talk to me.
edges?
I mean, cause I got mine, girl, and I'm bald head on the side. But girl, I got my edges, child. I look, girl, it connects with my eyebrows, girl. But I'm just trying to make because I feel like we go on the men a lot, but it's
Yeah.
just like, come on, y'all. The men could go back on it, or I want a girl that has natural
No,
eyelash or eyebrow.
men have stuff. They got their list, but it's a God's list, and that's something that we all as people need to stop and ask. And I have to like
Yeah,
really get that in my hearts. Like I got this list, but with God's list, and that's for both men and women. Like we're so caught up
that is
on
so
I want,
good
I
that you
want, I
said
want,
that.
I
That's
want,
true. Mhm.
and it's
But what
not
does God
right
want me
because
to
it's not.
have, and what's the
What
type of
are
man
you leaving
He
God?
wants me to have?
Yeah, like you're not
Mhm.
leaving God room to come. This is what I plan for you, and what you want. That's nothing like what I have. It's not going to make you happy.
Yeah, like
That's
you, and you're not even thinking big. That's another thing with us. I think that we don't even think like we think what we want is so big, or we don't ask for much, but you should
Mm-mm.
ask for much because you deserve that much
I
when
had
you're
to learn.
dealing with the
Yeah,
partner.
I had to learn that.
And no, but it's true because it's just like men would be like, "Oh, you need to lower your standards." But when you say lower your standards, it would be like, no, nobody should lower their standards, but make sure you're on that same caliber. That's how I feel.
Yes.
Make sure you match that person's fly, and it's not just about physical, because of course we want someone to look attractive.
I feel like it's the mental for me, like the relationship
Yeah.
with God, like the spiritual and the how the soul works. Like I feel like it's deeper than just how you think. I think it's how your soul and your spirit are feeling. And then I also feel like your souls have to connect in some type of way, and your spirituality
Yes.
connect in some type of way. Like it has to be there, and that's the only way it's going to work. Because if you can't even agree on your spirituality, and if your souls can't even connect, then there's going to be chaos anyway, and it's not going to last anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to have that grip on each other. And it's far beyond, because I think that if somebody can intrigue you without being intimate with you, if you can be intrigued
Right.
without just having a conversation and also having that spiritualness, and then just imagine how the sex will be later down the line. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because when you're engrossed, well, I'm saying, but when you're engrossed, like when you're engrossed with somebody and y'all on that same tip, just imagine.
That's true.
Like imagine how, girl.
You so silly. I get what you're saying. You being real. That's a real.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's just like just imagine, because I want somebody. It would be nice, like you always say what we want, but it would be nice though. Thank God, it'd be nice to have someone that intrigues you, because I feel like that's when you don't even really look at the physical as much, because the person on the inside is what overpowers it all. You get what I'm saying?
No, that's real.
So
and I don't think that God would give you something that somebody that's completely and totally.
I can't even hear you. It's every time somebody says video chat with me, I can't hear you anymore. See, now you're like down, so we're gonna have to hang up and do it all over again.
All right, I got you.
Can you hear me? Okay.
I can. Can you hear me? Oh. Let's go. Hey, don't get started that now. Relax, babies. I've been good this whole time.
Sorry.
Kind of fuss, girl. It's okay. But
Oh, that's irritating. Oh,
So the
right.
guy will
Okay.
give you something that's just not attractive to you, like altogether. Like
Mm-hmm.
I he may give you something that's like, oh wow, I'm surprised. Like, like this is like I'm not, it's not bad or anything, but I'm
Yeah.
surprised. Like I'm thoroughly surprised. Like it may be that type of situation, like, and it may be like, wow, okay. It's different to you because you've never had that type of guy approach you. Because normally, like,
Mm-hmm.
type of guys that approach you. You know what I mean? If they're like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, cool enough and you talk to them enough, then that's cool. But like, it's not. I don't think he give you anybody that you're just like, oh my god, ew. You.
Yeah, I know he's not gonna give me something. I'm just like, God, now you know. Like, really? Like, but it's just, you just like, but it's just like when love is love, because I can't say that because see, I wasn't even really attracted to well, one of my exes, he was a rebound, and I always say he was a rebound that was supposed to bounce, okay? But
You
he
so
stayed
good.
around too long.
Yes.
We need to do a video about that, about the rebounds that are supposed to bounce,
Yes.
but they end up
True.
coming along, and that brings a lot of trouble too.
Yeah,
um,
that does. That's real.
but it feels good to be free of a lot of things that I felt like I was in bondage with. Um, it feels good. Like it feels good when I look back on it. And then that was another thing, like we were talking about, like even those people in our past that might come back, whether it's just a conversation. Some
Talking about this a minute. Hold on. We come back. Okay, there you
can't
go.
hear
I can
you.
hear you
Okay,
now.
here. Okay. Did you hear what I said?
I can hear you now. Say it again. Oh, hold on. I'm gonna hang up and bring you back.
Oh, I was saying. Okay, all right.
No, 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 no. Where are you doing? Wherever you're sitting now is good. Go ahead and say what you were saying.
Okay. See, I hated it here. I'm at Mumsy's. What I was saying was a lot of times, like even like people from your past, girl, Mumsy's, her internet is a little slow. But girl,
I'm sorry. You know how my
girl,
past
he like, I want to be in here too. What's that? A Nemo?
Nemo and
That was
Callie.
Nemo, isn't it?
Yeah. Nemo.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Callie.
Callie right there.
Yes,
Yeah, I
Nemo.
know Nemo. Okay, yeah. Girl. Yeah, but no, I was saying how when people come from the past and they want to, they want to talk to you or they want to, catch up or whatever. And sometimes it's like it's nothing wrong with getting closure because it could be somebody where we ended off on bad terms. And then once you get closure and y'all talk about stuff and it starts to go left or it starts to go to a point to where, okay, where you trying to go with this? There's nothing wrong with just checking on you from time to time, but what are your motives or whatever? Because I'm not going back to what broke me or hurt me. It's nothing wrong with
Exactly.
us me saying hi.
Especially when they're just trying to come back with the same thing and you have changed
Mhm.
tremendously. Like I told you about that. Like I talked to the guy that I had dated for 3 years, and we had a conversation together. And when we were chatting,
Mhm.
I had gotten my closure. We had a very mature conversation. We were able to like pick through a lot of things. And but as I was talking to him, I realized how much I've changed as a person outside of him and how much of me I've gotten back. And you really
Mhm.
sit back to think about how, wow, this person really affected me that much. This person really like changed me. That I know I allowed this person to change me because
Mhm.
I'm not gonna blame it on nobody else. That's what you allow. So I allowed this person to
Mhm.
change me that much, and this person still thinks the same, still acts the same, and I just felt so different about that person. Like I was
Mhm.
like, okay, I'm happy. I feel like it was almost God circling back around and showing me like, now look how much you've changed when you spent time with me. Now you can
Oh,
really
yes.
what it is. You know what I mean? When you
Yes.
first being blinded by your wants, your needs,
And your
how
own lust, your needs, all that.
yeah,
Yes.
and I'll call it love. That's really what it is because it was never love. You know what I mean? That type of
Mm-hmm.
that's love, and you can call it love, but when you really, I read about what God's love is, and I feel like to this day
Mm-hmm.
I've never been able to experience that in a relationship setting. I've only ever been able to experience that type of love from my family, and
Mm.
that's me being honest
That's yeah.
because
That's good
when
honesty
you
because that's unconditional love.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yes, and I don't think I've had that because every person that I felt like I had some type of unconditional love with, it had a condition. I somewhere at some point I brought up a condition of something I just couldn't do because I
Mm-hmm.
felt like I was purposely being hurt. And true love isn't going to
Mm-hmm.
purposely hurt you. They may
He
hurt you by
hurt you.
accident, by
Yeah.
disagreement, you know, but like physical harm,
Mm-hmm.
mental harm, emotional harm, those type of things, that's and to repeatedly do it while the person is trying to work out with you, that's not real
Mm-hmm.
love, you know. So when I
Mm-mm.
read what
No.
God's definition of love is and how to love one another through Him, I can honestly say, like, I've only experienced that from my family.
Mm. That is that's real honesty and that's deep. You know, I told you when stuff hit me, I'd be like, woo. But that but
But I don't think it's
that's the
impossible to find it though. I don't because there
Mhm.
are people our age that we know that have found true love. There are people who
Yeah.
are older than us that have been together for like 30, 40, 50 years. I don't think it's impossible to find. I just think we got to get outside of what it is that we think we want and ask God
Yeah,
to
we got
bring
to get outside ourselves. That's what I was
it.
saying. You know, with people, it's just like people keep on saying, I be trying, but you trying and hasn't helped any. Maybe you
Did
need to change up your regimen. Maybe you
yeah.
need to try a different path. Maybe you need to try God. You keep trying to do things on your own, you know, and it's not working out for you. So it's just like stop trying, take away, let God get the will. When it says God take the will,
I do
it's
that.
just that. You know, when it said God fix the Jesus, yes, Lord, fix it. You know, because it's just like I've been doing this for so long and I'm trying to do it all on my own and it ain't helping. And that's with relationships, that's with business, that's with friendships, that's with a lot of stuff. And it's just like sometimes you have to remove yourself away from certain people, even friendship. Sometimes you can't be friends with everybody, you know,
Just
because it's just like
tell me
some of the
about that.
bad habits that I was doing. Yeah. Well, I know you know, girl. You know I know. I don't know you know. But and then we're gonna say that for another topic. But we can talk
Yes.
about it in a like just a little bit as far as sometimes you just, you know, if it's not for you or it's habits that are not for you, sometimes God, you know, if you allow him to, he will remove all those people or people, you know, not everybody, but you know, the people that are not for you and bring you new friends, bring you new
Yeah.
people to hang out with, you know, and that's another thing. It ain't nothing personal like with people, they're like, oh, you don't call me like that, you don't hang out. It ain't nothing personal, baby. I'm focusing on myself. I gotta
Yeah.
get me together. I got two boys to think about. You know, it's nothing personal. And, you know, when you know, I don't want to go out to the club. I don't want to, you know, I even though I like to drink my little drink, I like to have my little wine, honey. I gotta have my wine. But I don't need to go out. You know, I don't need to go out. I don't need to do all those things. I don't need to be seen. You know, I need to focus on me. It's certain things I need to do for myself. You know,
Yeah.
and I need people that understand that. And that's just like even with a relationship, when you're in a relationship with someone, they need to understand if you're trying to get nobody should hinder you from trying to better yourself.
Amen.
And in
Amen.
a relationship, no man, no woman should be able to hinder you for trying to better yourself.
That's real.
So yeah, and I feel like when it comes to that, those are distractions. When it comes to that, and you have people, oh, you can't do this, you can't open up your business. Why can't I? Oh, you don't have the means. How do you know what I have? You don't know. If God tells me He's going to do something for me, like I
Amen.
said, when God told me He's going to give me a house, God's going to give me the house. I'm still going to have to do the work. but this is what God promised me. You know what I'm saying? Like certain things God has promised me. God's promised me with certain things is going to come to pass. It's not going to say I'm not going to struggle. I'm not going to go through certain things, but these are the things that God promised me. So in my relationship, I can't have anybody who will deter me from God's promise, you know, that will take me away from God's promise, you know. So that's another thing with relationships, you know, period, you know, not having anyone keep you back or make you feel like you can't do it. You can.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can. And I'm glad we're doing this. I'm glad we're doing this video. Because at first I was like, I don't want to do it. I don't look cute. Like my hair is not done and all this other stuff. But you know what's it's so funny? I was looking at a video and it was this man. He was like, you know, he was talking about what the COVID had taught him. And I'm like, my lips are ashy, child. I'm over my mother's house right now. Like, it's hot in here. It is what it is. But no, what I'm saying is, it when God calls you to do something, you got to do it. It does not matter because it's not about us. It's beyond us. If God said, you know, you need to have these conversations, you never know who's listening or who might chime in. Like they might not chime in right now, but they might, you know, go back and be like, oh, what were they talking about? And it might be good information for them. Well, you know, so it's just like, you know, you have to just do it, you know. And it's just like I would feel like, oh, I would love for us to be, and one day we will be on a better platform where it's just like, oh, we'll be a nice little scenery and all this other stuff. Like probably when we get home we can do another one because I have my little pillow set up, you know, and be like, hi. But as for right now, it's just like, let's just be, you know, just be raw, be real, you know what I'm saying? Because that's just what it is. If I want somebody, I want to be able to, if I want to follow or listen to someone, I want to know it's authentic. I want to know it's real. You get what I'm saying? So
I understand exactly what you mean. That's so real. That's so good. That's real. I believe that. I want to ask you one last question, right? So, have you ever, like, as far as like with the assignment thing, right? Have you ever healed from something, like healed from it, and then you circle back around and you saw that person again, and you saw, like, you could just see it on them, like you could just see all the angst, the hurt, the pain, everything that was once on you because that person inflicted it on you, because they were allowed in your life and they dropped these things in you. You know, have you ever just been able to look at somebody and just see every single thing that you were just like purged?
Ooh, it's so funny that you said that because I used to say, I don't know if I was saying it right, but I'm like, everybody sins, we all sin every day or whatever. Sin is sin. But it was like I could see the certain sin that was on the person that used to be on me because I was one with the person. And I not, you know, one as intimate with that person. And I took in a lot, like it's just like a lot of the things he would do, I would do, or a lot of things that I would see or stuff that I would just that I'm not. It was just like I'm so. You know how you like you change, you heal, and you can like you say you can just look at him and be like, ooh, that's why I'm not with you. You don't have to even say nothing. It's just like they don't have to say anything. Look at them and be like, oh no. And do you ever just sit and say, like, how could you even like it? Like I know me, and I'm gonna ask you this: have you ever said attractive? Have you ever said just based upon the things they took you through, allowed yourself to go through to be with them, to say, how could I ever like be with a person that long or lay down with a person like that or whatever?
I had to forgive myself for that.
Because that's like,
I had to really forget. I
was hard.
So angry with myself for allowing myself to deal with or put myself in the position of a lot of the things that I dealt with. And I had to forgive myself. Like I had to,
Mhm.
that was hard because I was like, why would I be so stupid as to do this? If I never did that, then I never would have had to deal with this. But then that put me in a position to understand that everything that you go through, God will give you a way out. You know, you resist you know, He'll
Mhm.
give you a way. If you don't take it out, He'll still have enough grace on you to get you out of the mess you got yourself in. So, and then
Mhm.
you know, you just got to stay with him. You can't leave him out of the equation. And one thing I can honestly say that saved me through a lot of what I've gone through, whether it was mentally, physically, emotionally, I always prayed to him in regard to it. I've always talked to him. I've always kept him somewhere in my
Mhm.
corner, regardless of how hurt I always had enough grace on me to pull me out of that. And I had to work with him. And this was just
Mhm.
recent. Like I was thinking about everything I ever went through, and I was so mad at myself that I wasted so much time. I've dropped out of
You
school
sound
over
like
crazy
me.
stuff, girl.
That
I
was me
have,
at one point.
but
I do that sometimes still.
yeah, but I realized that if I would have stayed in that major, I would have been doing something that God didn't want me to do anyway. So everything happens for a reason. And once I
Mhm.
really sat back and I thought about that, like I was like, oh wow, you know, everything does work together for the good of those who love the love the Lord, you know, and
Mhm.
are according to His
Mhm.
purpose. And I was like, you know, you may not understand why you've gone through, and I'm still learning why I've gone through a lot of the things I've gone through. It still hasn't been completely revealed to me, but I do know everything I went
Mhm.
through made me stronger. Everything I went through taught me.
Mhm.
Everything I went through has led me to what it is that I really want to do, or what it is that I think He wants
Mhm.
to do. He's leading me to it, and because I'm able to forgive myself, I was able to let go of all that stuff that wasn't me. And that's why I think I held
Mhm.
on to it for so long, because I couldn't even forgive myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's something that I still sometimes depending and I struggle with forgiving myself for what I allow another human being to do to me and what I allow to put up with, and then seeing that type of person and that personality did not match with mine, was not the same as, it's not going to be anybody's everybody's different, but it
Mm-hmm.
was like it was so wicked, it was wicked, and it was just like, even though we're not perfect, everybody we sin, every day. I mean, we always want to sin, even if it's in the mind or without, just blatantly doing it. You know, it was just like it was deliberate. I don't, it was deliberate. It was intentional. It was like I'm trying to hurt you because I'm hurt. And
Yeah.
I recognized that. And it was just like, oh no, I can't believe I allow a person like this to dictate, and I follow after, and I lay down with the person, and it makes my skin crawl sometimes, thinking about it. But then it's like you have to heal and get over it. You get what I'm saying? Because you got to know you're not there anymore. But then it's just like, even though I have to forgive myself, doesn't mean that I forgot about it. And sometimes it's just like you can't dwell in that. Sometimes we'll dwell and think about it. We'll think about all the bad relationships that we have been in. Even though I've been in really good relationships too, but I've been in bad, a couple of bad ones. And sometimes I find myself pondering, but I know that's not of God. I know I'm not supposed to sit and ponder and think about all the bad, because it just makes me have resentment for people that I shouldn't have resentment for, as far as moving forward into a relationship.
Yeah.
But I don't need to go into a relationship thinking that someone's going to be out to get me because I felt that way in my past relationship, or that person slighted me, or that person betrayed me, or that person did all these things to me. I don't, that's the thing that I'm saying. It's like not carrying that and healing from that. That's why I feel like it's very important for men and women to heal, because if you do not, you will carry that. And a lot of times when I talk to men, I'll never do this for another woman. I did. You have not healed from that. You haven't healed from it,
Oh, they're the worst.
because everything that,
They when a man gets hurt, it takes them longer to deal with it. I feel
Mhm.
sometimes because men, yeah.
But
So
it's
I
selfishness
honestly
because
feel
of
I honestly feel that way.
men. that have gotten, but it also is men that now the shoe is on the other foot. Now, because I had, even in my circumstance, oh, he was so content doing all these things to me. But when I did the same thing, it was a different story. It was like, I'm crushed. He let everybody and his mother, literally. I'm not even playing. No. Okay. But when he did things to me, I wouldn't even speak on half the stuff, So it was just like, that's so true. And I think even till this day, it's been years, and he's still talking about one thing that I did to him. Just one thing out of all the things that he did to me.
But it's like,
I mean, several things.
Be that way, especially when you're dealing with somebody who exhibits toxic behavior. Like when they're able to get away with doing you for so long, and they're able to just like, okay, she's not gonna do anything, or he's not gonna do anything. It can be vice versa, because men go through that. Like once you get fed up with it and you have something to say about it, then it's like, oh, you are wrong, because they can't believe that you actually. It's like a narcissistic like behavior, and it's like a guilt trip on. So, and it's almost like
that's so true.
Brainwashing you. They're trying to brainwash you into behaving the way that they want you to behave, or doing things that they want you to do. And so it like, oh, sorry, y'all. So it always
yes, it's like, Tila, we got the girls out.
I was messing up my cord, y'all. I didn't even. So like,
it's okay. You gave a little show. It's okay. Ain't nothing but a little titty, little breast. Okay, but go ahead, girl.
But oh wow, real moment. It's real out here, okay? So it's like, once I realized that, and once I figured that out about myself, I really I stopped playing mind games, and I stopped allowing people to play games with me, and I started.
I know that's right.
We're gonna have to end this soon, because we talking like we on the phone, girl, and we're on live.
I know we are not, and I was thinking about that, and I'm like, I'm hungry, girl. I want to get a late night snack.
Well, you know what? We're gonna just leave it at this. What is your closing statement?
My thing is, with everything that we talked about today, I'm gonna just leave this with y'all, and I'm gonna just say that in order to get to something better, you have to heal from the past. So I'm gonna leave it like that, if that makes sense. You got to deal with the past if you want to get to something better, and then you have to allow God to work. You can't do the work. You have to allow God to work. And that's it, folks. What's yours?
Mine is, be patient, because oftentimes when you're rushing towards trying to find something or wanting something so much, you get the wrong things in return. So don't be afraid to be patient, and just wait on God's time. And I agree completely with what you said. It's all about what God wants, because he put us here in the first place. So just allow him to do his thing and show you what it is. And I'm pretty sure you won't be disappointed, because anyone in the word who's allowed God to really do their thing, there's been a couple things that have been, but it was not ever for no reason, like with Job. When Job lost everything, he continued to trust in the Lord, and he came out trusting the Lord, and the Lord gave him more than what he had to begin with in the first place.
Exactly.
So
yes. Tenfold, huh? Tenfold.
All right. All right. So let's get
all right. Bye, y'all. Hey. Bye, Mina.